had actually been wandering on his own much earlier. My understanding on what occurred in the home was that, the mother thought the child was with an older sibling in a room upstairs in the house. And later on, she ends up discovering that the other child had left. So the circumstances around that aren't 100% clear beyond that, but it certainly seems that, when you've got a parent responsible for a special needs child 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, 365 days a year, there's always a potential for a moment of lapse in guardianship. So I think that's what occurred in this incident.
So can you touch on, you said Ring camera video caught the child walking around 4:37, but a call didn't come in until about 8:08. What happened in those 4-ish hours? Why wasn't he reported sooner?
I think I just explained it. The parents were not aware, mom was not aware he was missing until the time that she called 911. We determined that he had actually been out wandering by our investigative process.
So do they know at what point he ended up in the lake? Is there any footage to even show how long he had been in there?
To my knowledge, at this point, we haven't gotten any that shows him walking towards the lake. During our canvass of the lake, now obviously that's the first thing we do when we get out there is we go to the bodies of water. That particular one was closest to his home. We identified a footprint along the side of it, which had us very concerned that he was in that body of water. So we had drones doing grid searches on each part of water in the area. And the drone eventually got to the other end of the lake, and there was the child.
So the mother was home at the time, just in a separate room?
Yes.
And was there a father present?
I don't have that information.
Are the parents going to face any charges?
It appears it was an accident, just a tragedy, and that could happen, and we've seen it before.
Do you want to speak to, I know we talk about it every time, but the risk that children with autism face among our community and going missing and things like that? Just speak to that.
On top of it, it's a tremendous strain on the family. They do it with love, but nonetheless, it's a fantastic challenge that they face, very difficult circumstances. We had a child, 13-year-old, drown earlier in August this year, and when we faced that situation, we started really taking a lot of pause and thinking, what are the other opportunities? That child was not wearing, we're partners with Project Lifesaver, which is a radio frequency bracelet that, children with autism or dementia patients wear that allows us to track them. And in both cases, we didn't have that technology on either one. I would say that most likely that would not have gotten us there on time, because what occurs is when we get called, we respond, then we have to get the receiver for the unit and track it. And sometimes it's just too late by the time 911 is actually called. We're looking at another product that we want to partner with, which is a GPS solution that allows caregivers to create geofences around their homes or wherever they're located that would alert them when their patient steps outside of that area, and it also allows them to track them real time on their own phones. I think giving the caregiver parent the opportunity to locate the child immediately and also bring awareness to the fact that the child eloped probably gives us our best chance. The challenge facing us with both of Project Lifesaver and this one as well is that, in both cases, the child that we dealt with had not been involved in a program. So there are lots of children with autism in our community we're aware of that we don't know exist. And it's a matter of reaching out and establishing those relationships and making sure that families dealing with this are aware of what we're willing to offer and what we can do to help them. So that's what we're currently engaged in trying to establish. I met with the department heads from the city today and discussed it even further, because it can't rest on the sole shoulders of the police department. It's a whole city problem, it's a community problem, and we just have to get the engagement going to improve this problem.
So for clarification, even if this child did have the Project Lifesaver bracelet, it still would have been too late because of the time that he was reported missing?
Yeah, I believe that he was in the water for several hours by the time that we recovered him.
What is your you kind of touched on this, but what is your direct message to anybody listening to this, whether it's to caregivers or to just the community in general, people who know other people with children, autism or dementia?
It's tough because you can take all the precautions that are out there, and accidents can still happen. I can't tell you in both cases that every precaution was taken. I know that there are a lot of websites, a lot of information on how to child-proof your home in these situations, putting locks high up on the door. You can't control retention ponds, and we're in Florida, we're built on a swamp. There are lots of retention ponds that had to be put in place. No way to secure them all. I think the best thing that you can do is, research, put any available technology, even a simple geotag can be placed on a child and make them easier to find. But I think alerting when they elope and exit is probably the first best step. We could be called in much sooner under those circumstances. So it's just really making sure that parents and caregivers have the ability to recognize that their child is eloped.
And so going off that, what's your message to parents or caregivers with an autistic child on why it is important to, one, sign up for Project Lifesaver, and two, also let the police department know that they do have an autistic child so you guys are made aware, especially for instances like this?
I think it's very important that we have a database here established that they can register their children. A lot of the times families do not want their personal information on a police database. It's something that they resist. If they sign up for our program, I think that it gives us a much better ability to respond, and hopefully the new technology is going to give them the ability to understand that there's an elopement that's active and needs attention.
How soon might the new technology that you kind of teased there be rolling out? I think that's pretty exciting. I know Project Lifesaver is in the works for the next year, if I remember correctly.
We're continuing to partner with Project Lifesaver. We've been doing that for several years, but as technology develops, and you have to continually search and scan for opportunities, and I think that there's one that might help specifically with children that are drawn to water on the spectrum. So we had initially planned an event in April where we were going to slowly introduce it, but I think we have to move that up. I just, dealing with these incidents is just so difficult, and it tugs on your heartstrings so severely when it's a helpless child. So hopefully we can have this launch up and running in December.
Oh wow! So less than a year.
Yeah. So that was April of next year, but now you're moving it up.
Yeah, I just feel like we just can't wait, and we have some hurdles that we have to overcome, and you have to get some of them out there. I want to get some of these products out into these families' hands, get their feedback, have them give us an evaluation of whether they think it's something that they want to continue moving forward. If it works for us, so those families, I know it can work for others. So.
And so again, you don't suspect any foul play. This is just a terrible accident.
If you could have been with the family when we had to notify them of finding the child, you would know in your heart that there's no foul play. It's just one of those tragic things that can happen and does happen. And again, when you've got people who are responsible for this child who needs constant care and surveillance every day, every minute of every day, year in and year out for years on end, there's the potential for one human error, one simple misjudgment, one accidental time falling asleep. It's all it takes. So I think I'd be very careful about passing judgment on a parent who's tasked with something so difficult and challenging.
And so last question from me, you guys have been partners with Project Lifesaver for years at this point, and now with this new technology hopefully rolling out in December or within the next few months, how does this just go to show that Port St. Lucie Police Department is working to protect everyone, even the children on the spectrum?
All I can say is that we are, and we're continually at every turn scanning technology and seeing how we can improve at all aspects of our performance. We've introduced artificial intelligence report writing. We're developing a real-time operations center. We're launching drones as a first responder in the city. Wherever we have the opportunity to be more effective serving our community, that's what we're going to do, and this is just another example of that.
I think that's everything. Thank you. Appreciate
Perfect.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, this sounds like a tough one.
It is. They're horrible.